Good afternoon, all of you. I hope you can hear me clearly and my screen is also visible to you people. So, yesterday we have seen variable types of control charts, right? So, X chart and another one chart, that is a R chart, right? So, we have seen these two types of charts. We have seen the procedure like how to calculate this R bar, how to calculate X bar, right? How to calculate the upper limit, how to calculate the lower limit, that we have seen, right? Then we have seen the how to calculate range, how to calculate mean, and how to prepare the uh, R chart with the help of UCL and LCL. Also we have seen the certain constants, right? So D4, D3, A2, like that some constants we have seen, and we people have prepared the this range chart, right? And we have drawn the certain conclusion also from such a charts, like whatever graph you have drawn about the mean. So if points are above the UCL, upper control limit, or below the lower control limit, then there is something problem with your process and you have to take corrective action, right? So major problems, minor problems will be there. So this graph will tell something to you. Just by looking at the trend of the graph, you people have to take the corrective actions. Even in some of the processes, such a deviation is not, also not allowed, right? So it depends on process to process, so you people have to take corrective actions as and when there is a problem with these control charts, right? So that significance we have seen. We have seen how to prepare, and you people have drawn, I think. So I hope today also you people may be having calci, pen and paper, because you have to calculate, you have to draw. Okay, so up to yesterday we have seen variable control charts. Now today we'll see attribute type of control charts. So there are two types of attribute type of control chart. First one is a P chart and another one is a C chart. Okay, so with the help of example we'll try to understand. So theoretical part already we have discussed when to use which chart, so I am not going in detail. Let us see numericals and try to draw it. So you can see the one example where sample numbers are given, number of defective tires, that numbers are given, and number of tires in each sample. So while checking how many tires, so vehicle tires, so try to understand. So example is like that: a production manager for a tire company has inspected the number of defective tires in 5 random samples. Okay, how many random sample he has taken? 5, and with 20 tires in each sample. So once lot came, he takes 20 and he checked the defective tires in that lot, 20 tires lot. Okay, the table below shows the number of defective tires in each sample of 20 tires. Calculate the control limit. Obviously, once you have control limit, upper control limit and lower control limit, easily you can draw the control chart. So obviously, after calculation of control limits, you people have to draw it. So this is the example of P chart. So let us see sample number, number of defective tires, number of tires in each sample, and proportion defective. So it is very important term in P chart. So I will say how to calculate. So now up to 3 columns, that data is your prior data before calculation. Means maybe by personal observation, maybe by any of the devices which you have used to check the defects. Okay, so in sample one, that production manager has found 3 defects. Second sample, 2 defects. Third sample, 1 defect. Fourth, 2 defects. Fifth number sample, 1 defect. So like that, total 9 defects are there, and total 100 samples he had checked. So what is a proportion defective? It is it is also called as a control limit or P bar. So how to calculate defectives? So whatever defects you found, p chart is made for that. If you remember the theory, right? So p chart is there to calculate proportion defective, how many compounds are defective. So for that purpose it is there. So I hope you remember this. So how to calculate that proportion defective, or p bar or cl? For every component, first you have to calculate proportion defective. So number of defective tires divided by number of tires in each sample. 3 divided by 20. How much it is? 0.15, right? Then in second, proportion defective, 2 divided by 20. 0.10 is a proportion defective. Just you can say ratio. Just they have calculated the factors of defects. So like that, 0.15, 0.10, 0.05, 0.10, 0.05. So like that, total 0.09 defectives are there. So now how to calculate control limit? Defectives divided by total inspected component. Right? So total defective, how many total defectives are there? Defects are there. Total 9 defects are there, right? And below that, total inspected. How many compounds inspected there by inspector, production manager? 100. So what is the control limit here? 0.09. Getting? So now, what is the standard deviation here? So there is a formula, p bar into 1 minus p bar divided by n. Control p bar is also called as a control limit here in p chart, and n is a number of tires or number of samples, you can say. Number of tires or quantity in each sample, you can say, that is n. So now we found the cl or p bar is a 0.9. So if you put the value of 0.9 in a formula, you will get calculation 0.064. So all calculations has been made here. Just cross verify. Is it true? Now to find out the UCL. So what is the formula? P bar plus Z sigma, right? Z into sigma, and lower limit if you want to calculate, P bar minus Z into sigma. So what is the value of Z which we have taken in all the control chart? That is 3. Okay. And sigma you have found now just by calculation of the square root of whatever formula is given. Sigma p is equal to, right, p bar into 1 minus p bar divided by n and square root of it. So that value is 0.064. Just cross verify. Is it true? So please note these values. So you people have to draw this graph. Okay. So just check the calculation and note the values only, table. Don't write this statement of example. Only draw the chart, because it is sufficient to draw graph. Only you need to remember formulas. Okay. So in every control chart, you may have observed like UCL, LCL, and CL. Only 3 terms are important. CL means control limit, maybe middle line, mean line, you can say. Upper line is above, upper control limit is always above the CL, and LCL is below the CL, right? So that is common for all the control chart. Just formulas are different as per the what kind of things you are, for which thing you are calculating the control, drawing the control chart, depends on formulas are there. So you need to remember this formula. So in exam they may not ask, like in objective exam especially, they may not ask you to draw these things, but maybe calculation they may ask, like they may ask you people to calculate upper limit or lower limit or control limit for all p chart, maybe x chart, r chart, c chart, like that. Done. Have you noted these values? Have you done verification of calculation? All are okay. Remember this UCL, ELCL, and CL. So now 0.09 is a CL, UCL is a 0.282, and ELCL, if you observe, it is a minus 1, minus 0.102. It is a minus. So you have to take it as approximately 0. Okay, don't go in negative direction. So approximately if you take 0, then also it will be okay. Okay, so no need to go in another quadrant. Done. Now let us see how graph will be there. So only for 5 reading we have done this calculation. This graph is for 20 readings. So now here fraction defectives, that values you will observe. So like 0.15, 0.10, it will be on x axis, and number of or sample number will be on x axis. So just see. So they have drawn dotted line. So it is approximately they have taken 0.1, approximately upper limit they have taken 0.3, round figure they have made, and lower limit is a 0, and about that they have drawn this graph for 5 reading. So here it is for 20 reading. So just draw it and see the trend. Just draw for sample number 1 to 5 only. On sample number will be on 1 to 5 on x axis, and proportion defective will be on y axis. So and already you have central limit, sorry, control limit, then upper control limit, lower control limit. So take 1 minute and draw this your own graph for only for 5 readings. There are maybe you can take 20, 50 readings also. So this discussion we have made for only 5 readings or 5 samples. Okay, done. No problem. So let us see another example. Second example. So let it be any reading, just we have taken values. So sample, then number of defects, and then p value, maybe fraction you can say. 4 divided by 50, 5 divided by 50, 9 divided by 50. So this fraction is very much essential in a p chart, right? So we generally we are taking on y axis, and sample number on uh, Yes, done. I hope you have calculated all the values. Now you have to calculate the upper limit, lower limit, has been made here on screen. So you and LCL is a 0.1050. Done. So now I hope you have drawn all the values. So now, can you see the screen? Upper limit, lower limit. So this graph is little larger because it has been done. You have all the readings. So minus value, if most of the time LCL is a minus, consider it as a 0. Don't go in another order. Is it done? Okay. So try calculate the things, upper limit and lower limit, and obviously central limit also. Not central limit, control limit. You take the all average of p or arithmetic control living. So I want to say one more question. So verify the calculation values you have noted. We'll have one more example on C chart, and then we'll proceed to sampling, another section of this chapter. And maybe next week we will complete our 8th unit. We have 8 units. So next week, Monday to Thursday, we will complete our unit number 8, and probably few bits we also will cover there. Okay, so I hope you have drawn it. Now another example related to C chart. Okay, so this is the numerical. Here numerical is related to complaint. Can you observe the change of slide on your mobile? Actually, I am not observing. Just a minute, I will leave and rejoin. Let us see what happens. I think it's visible now. So this is an example. The example is like the number of weekly customer complaints are monitored in a large hotel using a C chart. Develop a 3 sigma control limit using the data table below. 3 sigma means this 3 values. 3 value we are taking as for standard deviation, right? So that 3 value they are telling. So this is additional data. Don't worry about it. So for all the examples, the z value you have to take as a 3 that we have seen. This is I think fourth number chart we are discussing. So see the example is like that. So in one hotel, manager has monitored the number of complaints in a hotel. So those who are coming in their hotel, so they found the complaint. So manager has maintained the data for 10 weeks, maybe more around 2.5 months, right? So in first week he observed number of complaints 3, second week number of complaints 2, third week number of complaints 3, right? Fourth number 1, like that he found the number of complaint in around 22, right? So what is the control limit here? Just you have to take the average of complaints. So what is that? It is a 2.2. You have taken 10-week average, you can say. So it is a 2.2. What will be the upper control limit? Almost same formula, C bar plus Z under square root of C bar. Formulas are important. For all the charts, certain formulas are there, so that you need to remember. For calculation of UCL, LCL, small change is there in all the formulas. Okay, so that formulas you have to remember. Now, what will be the UCL here? C bar plus Z square root of C bar. So put the values and tell me the value, whatever I have mentioned, these are correct. Just put in and note the this number chart example. Don't write the statement, only you have to draw the chart, because while drawing the graph, control a chart or a graph, it will be useful to you. Note it fast. Prepare two columns, 1 to 10 number, that will be the week, and number of complaints will be in another column. So I think you understood, like for all the control charts, these three things are very important: upper control limit, and lower control limit. If you calculate it correctly, easily you can draw. Yes, have you noted the values? I hope you have noted, and values also you have noted. So now this is the graph. Okay, so try to draw this graph. How you will draw? Obviously, sample on x-axis, sample or time. So number of sample or number of week you have to take. So on x-axis, and complaints per week. Okay, so now draw. On y-axis, there will be a complaints per week, and on x-axis there will be a number of week. So now just try to draw it. And I will ask one question so that I have asked at the after P chart. So I think you learned these four charts. Now I will ask question parallelly. You can draw this graph. Remember, all of you, you people have to upload these graphs. Whenever I will give link to you, so draw these graphs. So that way, I am taking only one example. That way, it is not complicated. So we will not spend much more time to. Already we understood theory. We are solving one example, so it's sufficient. Now, question is like that. We have seen all four charts. So, fortunately, our any of the reading is not above the control limit or below the control limit. But if it is there, very common question I am asking. So, at least you should answer after this much discussion. So, if any of the point goes above the upper control limit, so what will be your conclusion as a production manager or quality control manager? What will be your conclusion or what will be your corrective action? Any guess what you will do? Any guess? Definitely control charts are made for that only. Obviously we should take corrective action, yes, but how, means how you will take? No answer. See this C chart example with the help of that we will see. So this customers making complaint in hotel, and weekly this manager is keeping the record. So if you will observe, like certain waiter who is serving that table always has more complaints. Three, three, three. For example, week number one, he has served that table. Then third number week, fifth number, sixth number, and ninth number. It is a common sense. Like if that waiter is serving on that particular table, always there are more complaints per week. Means after every alternative day, there is one complaint. So you will understand after 10 week at least. It is a common sense you can say by just looking at the graph. It is expected like zero complaint should be there, but maybe it is happened, right? Or complaint regarding the quality of food. Who is a chef inside that kitchen, right? So immediately you will take the corrective action. What corrective action you will do? Either you will intimate that waiter, you will intimate or inform to that kitchen who is cooking that food, and you have to train that person. Maybe due to lack of skill, it may happen. You have to train. Although you have trained, still that next 11th week also same thing is happened. You will ask that person to leave the organization, right? So you will not tolerate after certain limit. So that may the corrective action, right? So like that. So if it is happening, remaining where places it is not happening. Why only so and so waiter? There are more complaints. So you have to understand it, okay? And you have to record the things. Can you remember what happens in last month, previous month? Can you remember? त्या आठवड्यात काय झालं होतं, चौथ्या आठवड्यात काय झालं होतं. सो इट इज क्वाईट डिफिकल्ट, बट इफ यू प्रिझर्व द डेटा, if you collect the data and if you draw the chart, then you will understand where is the problem. And if it is going to happen certain time, 100% efficiency is not happen possible in our mechanical engineering. After 1000 job, one job may be defective, it will be okay, right? You will understand one job, two job, the defects may be no problem, but suddenly there are 5 job rejection, 10 job rejection, then you people have to take the corrective action, and some tolerance will be there. You have to neglect the things at certain level. Mistake, one error, no problem, but if it is going beyond that, you have to take corrective action. Getting? So this is the significance of all the charts which we have discussed, like C chart. Okay, so have you drawn it? Take 1 minute and draw the C chart. We'll proceed to another bit. Done. So I hope you have seen something trend like this: complaints per week versus week number. Okay. Done. So should we proceed to another bit? Say something, yes, no. Can you see the screen? Acceptance sampling. So basically, this is a second half of a seventh number unit, that is a sampling, acceptance sampling basically. So in earlier syllabus, this was the fourth number chapter. So very small chapter it was, but they have combined with this seventh number unit. So let us discuss acceptance sampling means what. So certain terms are very important in a sampling, like in certain graphs, whatever charts, control charts we have discussed, they have not checked all the components, they have taken certain samples, 20 sample, 50 samples, like that, right? But how to select that, what are the types of sampling, what is the acceptance, what is the rejection, so or 100% inspections, sampling inspection, certain terms are very important in this particular unit, in second half of this particular unit. So let us discuss acceptance sampling. So friends, acceptance sampling, it is a process of evaluating the portion of the product or material in a lot for the purpose of accepting or rejecting the lot. Take example of our mechanical engineering. You people are preparing the thousands of washers. All of us are aware about washers, right? So is it possible to check the thickness, diameter? Is it possible to check each and every component? Wherever there are mass production, and it is very complicated to check the component, नट बोल्ट्स रिवेट्स किती ठिकाणी प्रोड्यूस होतात, बरोबर? सगळे तुम्ही चेक करू शकाल का? डेफिनेटली नो. सो acceptance sampling is important there. You have to make the sampling. Okay. So if you will do the acceptance sampling, then you have to come with one conclusion, like whether component or product or material is accepted or rejected from that particular lot. Suppose there is a one lot came of 1000 component, you will take randomly 20 samples and you will check the quality of it. Only 20 components, and based on that 20 component only, you will decide. If you found like 20 components, only 1 2 defects you found, only one, let us take example, then that lot is okay. But if you found like 3 defects, 4 defects in component, 5 defects, 6 component defect, like that, if goes beyond your decided limit, then you should reject that particular lot. Getting? So Why acceptance sampling is important? Because you people have limitation to check all the components when there are thousands of components. Quite difficult, right? So that time to decide the whether lot should be accepted or rejected. For doing this thing, inspection is very important, and all of us know inspection for acceptance purpose is carried out in all the stages of manufacturing, not necessarily like at the end of final product. During fabrication, during manufacturing also, people generally inspect the product. They check the dimension, they check the quality of it, right? So during the process, you have to do this inspection. So it is very, very essential element in a sampling. So there are generally two ways in which inspection is carried out. There are two ways. Either you can go for 100% inspection or sampling inspection. Whatever product came in your industry or whatever product you are dispatching to customer, you have to check each and every component. That is 100% inspection. And what is sampling inspection? Only few components you can take for the inspection purpose. So let us see once again what is 100% inspection. All the parts or products are inspected. All the parts or products are inspected, whereas in sampling inspection only sample is drawn from lot and inspected that component. 100% try to understand, all components are inspected. That is 100% inspection. म्हणजे सगळे कंपाऊंड चेक करायचे, एक ना एक कंपाऊंड चेक करायचा. That is 100% inspection. And sampling inspection, only few things you can take from it and only checking that randomly, obviously. Now what is sampling inspection? Again in detail we will discuss. So basically sampling inspection is a technique, and on the basis of this technique, number of defective parts are found in a random sample drawn from the lot. And if the number of defective items does not exceed the predetermined level, the lot is accepted, otherwise it is rejected. You have to decide predetermined level. You have to decide. Suppose 1000 components are there, you have drawn only 20 components, and if in that 20 if you found one defect, it will be okay, sample or that lot will be accepted, otherwise it is rejected. Getting? If it is more than one, it should be rejected. So this is a predetermined level which you are deciding. Getting? So for that purpose, this sampling inspection technique is a very, very important, where you can find out the defects from a random sample. So what is the purpose of it? Purpose is very simple, whether lot is good or lot is bad, that you can decide. Bad lot means you have to reject, you have to send back to your party who has sent to you, and good lot, that you have to accept. Obviously that bad lot, whatever party, he will do rework or he will make scrap, whatever it may be. So but whenever you are you are getting component, if bad lot is there, you have to reject it. If good lot is there, you have to accept it. Then another purpose is to classify the lot according to their acceptability or non-acceptability. Same thing. Suppose you got the 5 lots today. You have taken 20 samples from each and you have checked it. Only out of 5 you got the 3 bags very good, remaining 2 bags are bad, as you have done acceptance sampling, and that limit exceeds the predetermined level. So that classification you can make. Then what are the advantages of sampling plan? Very simple. When you should go for sampling inspection? When you want to check the component by destructive testing. All of You know, all of you understand destructive testing, right? Where you most of the time you break the component to test the things, right? Suppose you got the certain component and you want to test the tensile test of that component, and you are using UTM. You cannot test all the component and you can break the component to check the test. Then what you will use? Out of 1000 component, you take two samples and take the actual testing and check whether it is as per the requirement or not. So whenever destructive testing is necessary to check the component, check the quality, that time you are not having any option rather than sampling inspection. Obviously 100% inspection is impossible, not possible, or not valid also. Then for this sampling inspection, cost and time is quite less, right? So you are testing only few components, so one a person also can check this, so you even within less time. Okay, so few components are there, that's why. Then problem of inspection fatigue is very less, or almost it is eliminated compared to 100% inspection. So it is a huge fatigue that person has to check each and every component. It is quite difficult to that person who is checking it. This less inspection staff is required. Very less inspection staff. Even one person is sufficient to do this. Even unskilled person also handle this thing. Less damage to product. If you try to do 100% inspection, there may be the possibility to damage the product during inspection also, and you have to send back. It may happen. If you started checking each and everything, most of the time you need to fix the job, you need to hold the job. During handling or during movement of component from one place to another place, there may be chances of damage, and that may be the rejected product again. So that thing you can reduce, and positive pressure will be there on quality improvement from party side. So they will think like I should have good quality. Otherwise, even I will have one component or two component in lot defective, that person may send all the things back to me. So this may be the my loss, transportation loss, and again I need to check all the component. I have to remove the defective component. It is unnecessarily wastage of time and money. So there will be the more effective pressure, positive pressure on quality improvement with those who are producing the component. राईट. आपण असं म्हणतो बरोबर ना की कधी कधी फक्त शितावून भाताची परीक्षा करायची, बरोबर. मग त्याच्या वेळेस सगळंच व्यवस्थित पाहिजे ना, नाहीतर थोडं खराब झालं तर सगळंच खराब होऊन जाणार. सो दॅट्स वाय this is very very important advantage you can say. People will be motivated for quality. How? Because they will understand if there is a two components defective, party may send all the lot back to me. It is my loss. So he will think like there will not be any component defective. That kind of intention that person will have, and he will motivate towards the quality improvement. Right? It is logically true. Right? So these are the advantages that we have seen. Now what is the limitation of sampling inspection? Risk of making wrong decision. If you are having 1000 components, you are drawing only 2 components, and if these components you found like only defective, then you may send that lot to party. Right? So unnecessarily there is a wastage of time. So there is a risk of wrong decision. थोडंसं limitation आहे. Then the sample usually provides less information about the product than 100% inspection. Definitely, you will not get 100% information because you are not doing 100% inspection. You are doing sample inspection only. Few components inspection you are doing. How you expect the 100% information? So definitely there is a less information available with the help of this sampling inspection compared to 100% inspection. So
100% a percent inspection is also having certain positive point, negative point. This sampling also having positive and negative point. So depending on situation, you people have to decide whether to go for 100% inspection or sampling inspection. Getting? So success of the sampling depends on few things. For example, randomness of the sample. So this sampling inspection is also successful. Try to understand. It is not a bad thing, but randomness of sample is very important. काही लोक फक्त पोत्याच्या वरती चांगले कंपोनंट ठेवायचे, खाली खराब ठेवायचे. No. So you should not check it by just observation. You can take samples from anywhere from that lot. Then you have to decide the sample size. Then you have to decide like which characteristics you need to test. You decide first what characteristics need to be tested. Then what is your acceptance criteria? For example, if you find one defect in one lot, accepted. If it is going beyond that limit, then that lot should be rejected. So that acceptance or rejection criteria should be decided, and based on that sampling scheme is depends. And lot size, how many lots you are taking for inspection purpose. So depending on that, success of sampling scheme is there. Okay. So I hope you understood the theoretical part of sampling inspection. Tomorrow, maybe next week, we will complete only 1-2 bits remain from this unit. We will spend 10-15 minutes to complete 7th number chapter, and then we'll start our last unit. It may take 4 to 5 hours to complete. So next week we can complete our syllabus. Okay, thank you. So with this, we'll stop here. Quit the meeting.